This made me really sad. I'm just going to say this up front. I think Omori is a beautifully crafted game full of charm, outstanding characters, and an absolutely incredible world and story. It can make you smile and laugh for one moment, and then beat you to a complete pulp the next. There's layers and layers of complexity thrown into every little detail in this RPG Maker game, where you can fight the Shark Mafia. Okay, hear me out. Putting down what this game is about on paper isn't the easiest thing to do. So I'll just start with this. Omori is about a tight-knit group of friends. Although when faced with the loss of someone very important to all of them, they grow apart. Some force themselves to move on for the sake of others, some run from the truth, living in denial, and some isolate themselves, closing off from the outside world. You play as one of the latter. Sunny, better known as a Tomp because character limits, is the main protagonist of the story. The untimely death of his sister leads him to become a shut-in, sleeping the days away and taking refuge within his own dreams, which inhabit a world called Headspace. The entire place appears covered in a seemingly rose-tinted paint, where nothing can go wrong and everything remains the same. Can you guess what happens? This is where it gets interesting. Your best friend Basil goes missing, and it becomes up to you and your friends to save him. The catch is, outside of Headspace and reality, a moving date is fast approaching, and with only a few days before leaving town, some familiar faces want to catch up. So by day, you venture around Sunny's hometown, reuniting with your old group of pals, and cruise through the dream world during the nighttime in an attempt to rescue the cognizant version of your friend. All the while, you have to piece together certain aspects of the story, which twist and turn to a shocking final reveal. Did you catch all that? No? Great. Now let me tell you how much I got invested into the story. What I just described only scratched the surface of what can be discovered from Omori. The character moments, symbolism, and theming culminate to make this a narrative that's been stuck in my head for the past 2 months. There are moments that are unforgettable, some shocking, some even just gut-wrenching. Kel, Hiro, and Aber are some of the most human and well-written characters I've ever been able to enjoy, and the supporting cast does its job amazingly. The story isn't the easiest to describe without spoilers, but I think going in and experiencing it firsthand is what it's all about. So where does that leave the rest of the game? Well, this is the part where I get to talk about the Shark Mafia, baby, let's go! The entirety of Headspace is like that one dream you woke up from in a cold sweat at 3 in the morning, or was just left thinking, what? The design of each place you visit feels as if it's in some sort of trance-like state, which makes sense in the context of it being an actual dream. Each area you visit is visually distinct, but also connects back to certain affiliations in reality. The whole world is just built around Sunny's real-life hometown, just bolstered up to a very high extent. Every location is filled with charming little secrets or goofy characters which can spur some aha moments when you finally connect the dots to what they're linked to. There's also stuff that just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't really know about this one. Gameplay centers around typical turn-based combat, but features emotions, all 3 of which you and the characters will feel constantly throughout the game. Emotions switch up stats or attributes, kind of similar to how the status effects work in the Persona series. More damage output but risk taking more yourself, higher crit chance but lower hit rate, and more defense but less attack. This spices up gameplay combined with building up this little bar in the bottom, which allows you to use things like additional attacks, emotion abilities, and ultimate attacks. While all of this allowed the gameplay to feel less stale, a lot of the time when fighting everything besides bosses, it became a little monotonous. If I were fighting, say, a group of enemies, I'd attack with Kel's ability, mash attack, and heal when needed, rinse and repeat. Boss fights utilize the battle system in a much more effective way though, giving opportunities to use emotion and build up strong attacks, which always felt satisfying. Although what I really want to talk about are the enemies. Every time I entered a new zone, I couldn't wait to see what I would encounter next. You got the little sprout moles, who on their own have a million little variations and live in an entire underground colony. You got giant boomboxes and for some reason Windows XP. Then of course, the best part of the game, with an army of alligators and the most charismatic leader ever, Mr. Jawsome! How can you not think this is the best game in the world? It has it's a shark! It's a shark mob boss! It's fucking Shark Tale! Each battle has hand-drawn sprites, many of which burst with creativity. Bosses are all wonderfully unique, and often you can just tell their personality from the way they pose. The music only furthers the feelings of excitement in fights, the goofy and weirdness, and especially some of the more tense or somber moments. Omori's soundtrack accompanies you constantly while playing, so when the few occasions that close off the sound appear, it becomes all the more memorable, especially right when those uneasy moments hit. While being a seemingly cheery game, oftentimes Omori has a lot to say about a lot of stuff that isn't the easiest to talk about. Mental health, disassociation, fear, anxiety, and loss, just to name a few. It takes a lot of these visceral feelings and puts them on show, whether it be through very literal or symbolic means. Poor mental health is displayed as this brooding force of nature that remains present with Sunny and the player throughout pretty much the entire game. Things can get heavy, and as the story continues to come together, it only gets heavier. The saving grace, of course, are friends and the connections that you as the player discover. Sunny's bonds act as a sort of reprieve from the constant worries the state of mind brings, and play a key role during the game. To me, Omori is a very insightful game that looks into what it really means to be human. Each and every character, every interaction, every enemy, every setting, it all builds up from that one opening moment to create an incredibly told narrative through and through. While the initial moments may seem a little odd at first, seeing how the ending draws everything together to that one final crescendo, it's something I'll never forget. I think that's how you know you're truly playing something special.